Hello everybody, this is SaberRex coming to you live with a brand new video review for the Beasts of the Mesozoic Ceratopsians series by Creative Beast Studio and David Silva. And today we are going to be looking at the Wave 3 1/18th scale Albertaceratops nesmoi. So here we are, there it is. And before we take a quick look at this figure, let's take a look at its packaging, shall we? Moving this figure out off to the side and then zooming out like so, you get this incredible packaging right here of Albertaceratops. And of course, inside the box you have this incredible diorama. A little hard to see because it's dusk as well as river environment, but yeah, very nice inside. And of course, here on the front we also have the package art by Raul Ramos, one of the artists who did work for the Ceratopsians series. And if we flip that over on the back, you also get some amazing information on the Albertaceratops, as well as the obligatory product shots for the Wave 3 Ceratopsian figures. Yes. So, you have that. And of course, inside the box, you also get this very lovely collector's card of this figure. And of course, on the back you of course get the same information and the photo of the figure itself. So there you have that. And of course you also get these instructions, which are absolutely necessary if you want to put the figure together correctly and without the risk of it breaking. So I highly recommend looking at these, and for actually placing the tail on the figure, I highly recommend using a hairdryer for the adhesion to the ball joint for the tail, because it softens the plastic up quicker than heating in hot water does, honestly. In like 2 minutes, if that at all. So yeah, heating it in water takes a lot longer, hair dryer's quicker, and it's also really good for loosening up the joints as well. So yeah, very, very important to heat up those joints with a hairdryer or hot water, depending on what you decide to use. Although I do recommend the hairdryer overall, so that you, of course, get everything done quicker and with less risk of scalding yourself or anything like that. But anyway, let's move on to this figure, shall we? Yeah, so here is Albertaceratops nesmoi, and I have to say he is one of my favorites so far for the Wave 3 Ceratopsians. He is absolutely stunning. And if I recall correctly, I believe the lizard that the coloration is based off of for this is called a black-faced lizard. I heard that's one of the very few lizards I'm not familiar with, so if I got the name wrong slightly, please forgive me. I know a lot of lizards, but yeah, that's not one of the ones I'm really quite familiar with. But yeah, absolutely wonderful color design, and it really works for Albertaceratops. If we bring him closer to the camera lens, you can see all this gorgeous detail on the face, on the frill, all those beautiful blue markings interspersed with the white and fading into the black, and of course the red fading into the cream, and the yellowish white on the belly, and into a much lighter color that goes down into the tail. And the scale patterns are absolutely gorgeous. I mean, it's absolutely stunning. And if you look on the back, you get this iridescent blue that gets brighter when it reflects the light. And yeah, it's just stunning. An absolutely superb paint job for this figure. Yeah, and I love the detail. And I especially love how on this figure, his pupils seem smaller than those of the other Ceratopsians that have been shown so far in relation to his eye size. Just makes him look a lot more like a bird than the other Ceratopsians. But yeah, he's absolutely gorgeous. Now, of course, like all the Ceratopsians for beasts of the Mesozoic, he is fully articulated. The mouth, which closes very nicely, fits very nicely into the upper jaw. The beak does open about this wide, though I generally recommend only opening it about this wide so it doesn't kind of look wonky and the cheeks don't look like they're separating from the skull. It's hard to see, but his tongue does move up and down because it's on a ball joint in here. So yeah, he does open and close his mouth, and the mouth closes really tightly, really snugly, so you're not going to have any issues with closing his mouth. And the fact that he can close his mouth all the way makes him extremely cool as far as I'm concerned in regards to the Ceratopsians. It just looks that much more realistic. The head and neck can move right, like so, left, like so. They can move up about this far, and not too much downward motion, just because of the limitations on the throat down here in regards to clearance. But yeah, he can move his head quite a bit. And the front legs can move a full 360, though I don't recommend it because of shoulder clearance issues. They can go in and out at the armpits, as with all the Ceratopsians can. Can go about 90-degree bend, and these joints are kind of tight, just so you know. They can go almost 90 degrees when you bend them at the elbow, and they go back about this much. So not quite straight, but definitely very, very close to it. The wrist is on a ball joint, and you can get some nice swivel and some forward motion, about maybe that much, and about this far back. So he can really pose quite well. It's the same for both legs in the front, and in the back you actually have torso movement. He can go about up and down, not as much as some of the other ones like say Xenoceratops, but he can go pretty far down. He also can, of course, move his back right and left at the torso. The hind legs are on on ball joints as well, and he can go about full 360, though I don't, again, recommend this because of clearance issues. The knee can go about this far forward and about this far back. Now, on this leg, it's a bit tight, so I'm going to show you the ankle joint. You can go about that far back and this far forward, so you get some nice movement there. And on the feet, of course, you also get swivel and forward and backward movement, so he is very, very stable when he stands up. And of course, last but not least, the tail of this particular dinosaur. Her figure, like all the other beasts of the Mesozoic, it actually goes right, left, up, and down, of course, like all the ceratopsians. But yeah, his tail is very, very short, and of course, like the other ceratopsians in the beasts of the Mesozoic lineup, it has no articulation other than at the base of the tail. So, a little bit limited on tail, movement other than at the base, but still a gorgeous looking figure. And I was actually quite surprised that his tail for this figure is quite short. It's about as short as that found for the Xenoceratops. I'm not sure particularly why, but may have to do with fossil finds, because I'm not entirely sure that they have a tail for Albertaceratops. It's only known from one really good skull, but in regards to information on the animal, it's only known from one good skull and some post-cranial, that is to say, fragments from the rest of the skeleton. So we don't really have a very, we don't really have a lot of detail on Albertaceratops other than from its skull. But we do know its closest relative is Medusaceratops, which is also in the toy line as a wave 1 figure for Beasts of the Mesozoic Ceratopsians. And I'm going to actually show you the size comparison between the two, since they did live in the same environment at the same time. So yeah, there you have it. Medusaceratops and Albertaceratops together. These guys are basically each other's, they're pretty much each other's closest relative from what can be determined. Or they're so close that it is very, very likely that they are each other's closest relatives. Technically, Albertaceratops is considered to be the most basal or primitive ceratopsian known, but they are both in the Centrosaur subfamily of ceratopsians, and they are most closely related, in addition to that, to Wendyceratops and Sinoceratops. But yeah, you can see how similar they look in regards to their frill shape, their horns, their face. You can definitely tell they are closely related. And they did live at the same time, but yeah, Albertaceratops is definitely the larger of the two. I mean, yeah, you can see that. That there is quite a bit of size difference in the head, in the body, all of that. Now, in addition to living with Medusaceratops, which was its cousin, it would have also lived with a couple of other ceratopsians as well, including Avaceratops and a species of Chasmosaurus, specifically Chasmosaurus russellii. Both of those are in the toy line as well, but yeah, they also would have lived alongside Spiclypius in addition, which is yet another one. Yeah, of these dinosaurs within the Oldman formations and the Judith River formations, which were at the same time period, just different locations, definitely Albertaceratops seems to have been the largest of the bunch that we have in the toy line that are from those formations. And in addition to that, we also would have had Albertaceratops would have also have been living alongside Gorgosaurus and Daspletosaurus, which were two of its main enemies, as well as the Dromaeosaurus, which is also in the Raptors toy line for Beasts of the Mesozoic. And of course, other animals like Parasaurolophus and Edmontosaurus, plenty of hadrosaurs basically. So there was quite a diverse array of fauna when this animal lived about 77 million years ago. So, yeah, just an incredible environment with a lot of horned dinosaurs that we are still learning a lot about, and we're still finding new animals from that. But yeah, honestly, I'm not surprised we have not found more for Albertaceratops since the initial fossil find, because it was probably rare in its environment, or maybe it was solitary, unlike a lot of other horned dinosaurs that lived in its environment with it. It may have been an animal that liked to live by itself rather than in herds like Centrosaurus or like Chasmosaurus or anything like that. Because we do have bone beds for some of these Ceratopsians that are in the toy line. Definitely one that probably was either solitary or very rare in its environment, and probably not something we may find a lot of in regards to fossils in the real world. But yeah, it's an absolutely incredible dinosaur, and I'm really, really glad that this Ceratopsian was brought into the toy line, because he is very obscure, and it's nice to see him get some much-needed attention. Now, in regards to size for this figure, let's take a look at how big he is. So, he is roughly about 14 to 14 and a half inches, measuring from the tip of his horns to the end of his tail, and at this height he is roughly about 7 inches tall at the top of the frill. So he's a pretty big one. He's about the same size as the Xenoceratops, maybe a little longer in regards to the horns, but definitely about the same height, and definitely about the same height and about the same length overall. But yeah, definitely one of my favorites. Now, price-wise, this figure is actually one of the more, one of the cheaper figures of the Wave 3. It was, so it's about $89 without shipping and tax. So, yeah, definitely affordable. Well, I mean, you can save up for him and you can get him. If you so choose to, or if you really want to, or if you have the money, I would recommend getting him right away, basically. Because he is superb, and that color scheme is absolutely gorgeous. Plus, if you've got this guy and you want a really obscure Ceratopsian you can just stump your friends with, this is definitely one that I recommend getting, because again, he's totally amazing, and it's nice to see this dinosaur get its due in regards to getting the attention it deserves. It's just such a cool animal. I can't recommend him enough. So this is Saber Rex saying, "You're never too old to play with toys." Hayes, thank you so much for reviewing this. Please like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon if you want to see more. And be a toy nerd. Be proud of it. Never stop playing around with stuff like this. Thank you, and have a good day. Bye.